So hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Tips and Tricks Coffee Break session with Progestic. We have Simone Lamotte today who's going to show us how the electronic fund transfer works, the EFT, with your SAP Business One. So hang on a second here. I'm just going to transfer you, Simone. Stop share. If you can show your screen. There we go. All right. It's all yours, Simon. Thanks.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm just going to go through the EFT process. Let's start. The process for EFT, in simple terms, it's gathering all your outgoing payments into a file and be able to upload it on the bank. So in the SAP, through your daily or weekly operations, you will create AP invoices and use the tool Payment Wizard to select and filter specific suppliers and payments and invoices that you would like to pay on a particular day. And once you go through the Payment Wizard, you will create two transactions or two operations. One will be automatically create all the outgoing payments through this Payment Wizard and also generate the EFT file that you will gather and then go to your bank portal and upload it with their service. For the bank portal, I would advise you to communicate with your bank, and I'm sure they will be able to help you how to use it, train you on how to use it, and also how to test. Some banks prefer that you test the EFT files and not them. And when we implement it on the Forgestic side, there's two teams that start off. It's the SAP, Forgestic, and the bank. I always advise you to communicate with your bank to start the service first. For them, usually it takes 2 to 4 weeks to come back to assign a technician to start the project itself. Once we do, usually you communicate with us and then bank information will be needed to start the initial project. With the bank information, we build the backend, we build the mapping process, and we assign you little homeworks for configuration, such as assigning business partner banking information. So for each supplier, you will need their banking information for automatic payments, and create all your banks and payment methods. Once the configuration is done, we generally build the EFT mapping and we send you a test file. So the test phase, you then communicate with your bank with a test file, whether you test it or them, and then we work on it until it is perfect. Once the testing phase is done, we assign a date and time to do a little training. Usually training takes an hour. And then once the training is done, the test phase is done, we ask you for a confirmation and we assign a go live stage. Generally, this entire project can take to a week, 2 weeks, to sometimes banks delays are extended, so it can take a month or 2 months. Generally, the project is 10 hours. This depends also on the training, depends on how much of the tests. Some banks need more refined testing and require additional information. Also, for the configuration, we can import business partner banking information, and it's all, some clients prefer doing it themselves, or we can just use the DTW and import it as a batch. Once we go into the once the bank comes back to us, we need specific information. This is the list of 9 things that we generally need from you. The SAP client bank account. We'll need also which currency, which is the CAD or USD, the origin number, which is a 10 digit, data center, which is 4 digit. All this information the bank provides The last thing generally is the test file and production file. Some banks really want a test file in the beginning. Some just rather go to production. So it all depends on which banks and how they want to complete the implementation. And generally a bank contact in the end, whether we need to contact them directly. On the configuration side in SAP, we have the payment methods. Generally, we create the payment methods, and here, as you see the file format, it is a payment means bank transfer. So with file format is applied, and we take the programming, the mapping in the back, and we assign it to this particular payment methods. Once this EFT payment method is created, you will be able to go into your business partner master data and assign it by default to the EFT. What we want is that every time you generate an AP invoice, by default, the EFT will be there. And so this will alleviate the payment wizard step. And also in the business partner master data payment terms, you will need to assign down here, you see the business partner bank, all their information. Afterwards, the EFT backend adaptation. So generally this part is done by us. We can train you and help you if you want to do it by yourself. The idea of the SAP EFTs, it all starts from a query and a crystal report. The crystal report is then used as a source for the mapping process here. So on the left side, test underscore Canada, this is all the fields that the EFT, the particular bank needs. And so we build the tree, which is the mapping for the bank, and we assign the field one side to the other until we basically generate this file at the bottom here, the ACZ. Different formats. So the same principle if you want to do EFT or ACH, the mapping is only different. To generate this tool here, the EFM, Electronic File Manager, there's two add-ons that are needed for the EFT process, the EFM and the payment. If you have a version older than 9.3 or equal and older, newer or equal to 9.3, then you do not need the payment add-on. You will need the EFM only to generate your mapping, but older, you will need a payment add-on. This usually is already installed when you have the initial implementation. It's a standard add-on. There's no additional costs to any of these EFM and payment. And here, I will just do a quick demo in SAP. So generally, in the setup, we will create a payment method, the EFT. And here, this is generally what we assign the 10 number origin number. The house bank, whether it's a USD and Canadian, and then we assign a Canadian or USD. Generally, if it's a USD account, we will make sure that only Canadian goes through. The file format here is something that we assign. We will do that during the implementation. And in the business partner phase, we'll take this as an example today. Copy, payment terms. Here we've added the bank information for this particular supplier. And we've made sure that the default here is set as default, and then we can sign the house bank here. So we'll generate a transaction, a simple service invoice for this supplier. Oops. Let's say it's for today. A month from now. That's fine. And generate test one. Take any GL account for testing purposes. VAT, say no tax, and for $100. And so we will add here. With the payment wizard, under the module banking, we start a new session, which is outgoing bank transfer. We can do for all suppliers, or for today, we'll specify this particular client, supplier. Here, the due date is set as priority. We put the 25th of October. We'll just do it by the end of the month. And here, I select my EFT. And the payment wizard applies a lot of filters to end up with our specific payment that we need to do. So here we have $100. We can select all or select only the one that we need. We do next. And when we do the execute payment run, this is where the two operations happen, where it generates here the incoming payment, the outgoing payment, sorry, at $100 for this particular supplier. And here it gives us the availability to generate the bank file. Here, it's important to have the folder accessible. Ideally, it's a folder that is shared within multiple users, because then you will keep changing the path each time. Also, if you want to archive past EFT files, please bear in mind that every single file that it's created holds only the same name. It will be your, let's say, TT and your origin number, which is 10 digits. So every time you generate a EFT file, they will not increment or not put the today's date. You will have to archive them yourselves each time. And then we create the files. And here we see the ctemp and TTEFT. We'll create an example here. And then from this file, which is a text file, you can upload it directly on your bank portals. And that is the end of the process. Do you have any questions, comments?
Thanks, Simon. Does anybody have any questions? You can just raise your hand if you want, and I could unmute you. No questions so far. We're good. All right. And Simon, just to put into perspective, usually when somebody wants to start implementing this, the EFT process, could you just give us an idea of how many hours are implicated? You know, if you're the one doing the work, or if you're sharing the work with the
generally the project itself, we estimate at 10 hours. This includes testing, training, implementation, if you have one or two currencies. So this is a general amount. And then if you do have a lot of suppliers, you know, there is specific things that can change, but generally we say 10 hours.
Okay, that's good. So if anybody wants information on it, or maybe you already have it and you've got other questions, or you're looking into it, you can send an email to support@forgestic.com that's on his screen, or use your portal via Autotask just to open a ticket. And we could have set up a little meeting with Simon just to see what your needs are and get a quote out if somebody needs help with anything. So thank you very much, Simon. And thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a good
day.
Bye.
Okay, bye.